Good afternoon. This meeting of the Preservation Board is now in order. Bob, would you call a roll so we can establish whether or not we have a quorum present?
Sure. Richard Callett,
Present.
Anthony Robinson. Here. Stanley Fowler.
Present.
Captain Hamaker.
Present.
Mike Colleen.
Here.
David Richardson. And Alderman Ryan.
I count 5. You confirm that?
Yep. We have a
Okay,
quorum.
we've got a quorum. Bob, before we begin, do you have an announcement to make to the people who are in the waiting room?
Thank you. If you wish to speak on a specific item, please send a chat to Miss Jackson. Just state your name and the address you want to speak on, and then we will call you when it's your turn to speak. So again, if you want to speak on a specific item, send a chat to Miss Jackson. Again, just your name and the address you want to speak on.
Okay.
You can mute yourself. I'm gonna mute there, John. We might have you mute yourself, okay?
Thank you very much. Commissioners, has anybody read the minutes for July 28th, 2025?
I move to approve the minutes of July 28th, 2025.
Damn it. Okay,
I will give you a minute to sort out that audio.
sorry.
Who's on John's iPhone, please mute yourself.
Oh, so, okay.
You hear you talking. Thank you, sir.
Okay, as the motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes during the discussion.
That was messing with the audio.
Sounds good. All right, great, thank you.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes, and no, we need a roll call. Bob, a roll call, please.
Start with Captain Hamaker,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
Yes.
Dan Fowler,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Richard Kellett.
Yes.
Ayes have it.
Okay, commissioners that approves the minutes. Look down through the agenda. Does anybody need to recuse themselves from discussion of any of these items? Evelyn?
I do. Item E.
Anybody else? Everybody okay with the order of this agenda? Okay, then this will be the order of the agenda. Calling agenda item A.
We have a prelim review to construct a two-story, single-family house at 1927 Hickory, which is in the Lafayette Square Local Historic District. This is the lot in question. Building on the site was demolished sometime in the 1960s. So it's been empty since. The applicant recently combined 2 lots into a single lot to make the project happen. So this is the subject property. This gives some more context. Where we're located, just off of Mississippi. This shows you the location of the property. Hickory's kind of a mixed bag of multi-family, single family, 2-story, 3 stories, a lot of Second Empire, but also a mix of styles. So very block, varied setbacks, varying scales of mass and size. This is looking from Mississippi east on Hickory. Again, you see on the left-hand side where the house will go. And I'm going slower because my dear friend Jan said I go way too fast. So I'm gonna go really slow just to make us all really uncomfortable.
So far, you're succeeding.
Doing great. This is the proposed site plan. As you can see, it's kind of situated more towards the commercial building to the west and a bit of a wider side yard to the east. Kind of show you, this is the original building on the site. As you can see, it kind of has the same setback as the proposed building. Does not align with the building on the corner, but it does kind of have that same setback that it did historically. This is the proposed front elevation, and the model example is across the street at 1920. The fenestration is a little bit different than a lot of the houses we see. Smaller windows, a lot more brick, but it does match the model example and it is appropriate. the two side elevations, they will all be brick with the normal fenestration patterns on both sides. This is the building and streetscape. It will align with the various properties to the east in terms of its height and how you walk up to the front door. This is kind of a mix up. I'm showing the proposed versus the model example. Overall, the building complies with everything in the standards. Again, the only thing that's unusual is kind of the smaller windows, but it really does reflect what's in the model example. The setback, again, aligns with the historic building on the site. Lafayette Square does support the proposal. You have a letter, which is a few items, including doing limestone or pitted concrete on the exposed foundation, which they're going to do. They also did not want the building to be sited up at the property line of the commercial building, which it does not. And they want to make sure that the drawing, the roof line is a little bit odd in how this is in the perspective that was drawn by the architect. It does have like a really beefy roof line, but overall they do support the project as submitted. So staff recommends the board grant preliminary approval of the project.
Commissioners, does anyone have questions for the applicant?
I've got a few. So Bob, are you gonna make them hold that front door back the way it is recessed in the plan, in the original?
We can, yes,
I
yes.
think that would be
That's
good.
one change. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
And are we gonna get an old fashioned looking door like they've got there on that house?
Yes, we will. Of course, the recommendation is subject to staff working with the applicant on final details, things like doors, and we can recess the door a bit. That is one difference. The model has paired doors with a heavy center mullion. This is a single door, so
Yeah.
yes, the door can be recessed. It'll look appropriate.
And then I guess you'll get into sills, and are you gonna have them do a brick arch? So they just didn't draw that in, I guess, right?
It's supposed to be brick, correct?
Okay. And the sills, you going limestone on those?
They are limestone sills.
Okay. Yeah, it looks nice. Thanks.
Any other commissioners have questions for the applicant? Bob, is there anybody in the waiting room?
There is nobody in my chat. Anybody in your chat? Nobody for this item, chat. Anybody? Yes, nobody for this one.
Okay, does the commissioner present have the motion to make it?
Sure, I move that the Preservation Board grant preliminary approval to the proposed new construction with the condition that final plans, details, and exterior materials are reviewed and approved by the Cultural Resources Office.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Bob, would you call a roll, please?
Sure. Kevin Homaker,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Stanley Fowler,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
Yes.
Richard Kelly.
Yes. That's 5 yeses,
Five yes.
no nays. The motion carries. Calling agenda item B.
This one's kind of interesting.
The first one was kind of interesting.
Hey, look, this is kind of neat.
I know, that historic model example they used to want to get square. I've been in that house and there's not a historic thing left in that.
Oh, really?
It was converted to two-family at one point, that's why there's 2 doors. So it has nothing left, but it looks awesome from the outside.
Yeah, it's unusual. I mean, those small windows, but it's. Okay, so next up, we have a new construction it's a preliminary review. We're 29 McNair and Benton Park. This you see is the current condition. The historic one-story tin factory was demolished sometime in the 90s. Yeah, and there's also behind that was actually a single-story residence that was demolished a long time ago. But they left the front facade up over the years, but all that is just a facade that's been mucked with a lot. Here's our location. You can see the lovely grass behind the facade. Corner of the Pestalozzi and McNair. This shows you, they've been reworking that facade for a while. That was taken in like 2021, I think. So this is the context, looking south on McNair. And this is the Sanborn map showing that it was originally a one-story tin shop. And the dwelling behind it. This is the proposed front facade and the model exam. It's also in Benton Park. It's unusual because the standards would say if you're gonna build a new house here, it should align with the 2 stories on the block. However, given that it was a 1-story historically, we feel this is appropriate and the proposed design does match the example really well. So again, this is for conditions. This is it in streetscape. It's gonna align more in height with the buildings to the south. But the administration will line up with the house on the left. Here's a site plan, so it will hold the building line with the adjacent properties. This is the south elevation. The brick will return about 7 feet, which is the distance to the neighboring property on the side. It's private, but the private facade, they still want to return the brick to give a nice line of sight to brick as you walk up the street. And that's the rear elevation. And this is the before and the proposed. Benton Park does support the application. The staff recommends that the board grant approval, subject to the standard language of final details, material and color. Any questions?
Commissioners have questions for Bob? Do any commissioners have questions for the applicant? Do we have a motion?
I move that the Preservation Board grant preliminary approval with the condition that the final plans, color, and materials be approved by the Cultural Resources Office.
Second.
Motion made and double seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. I'm sorry, is there anybody in the waiting room that should that?
Yes.
And then the applicant is here. Is it Mark? Is it just Mark?
Yes.
The applicant is here if you want to hear from him.
What we ask. There's a motion on the floor, been made and seconded. There's no discussion. Call a roll.
David Richardson,
Yes.
Catherine Hamaker,
Yes.
Stanley Fowler,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
Yes.
Richard Kell.
Yes.
Ayes have it. Thank you all.
Count 6 yeses, the motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. Calling agenda item C.
This is a new construction at 2261 Indiana Avenue. The this is a preliminary review of a new construction to build a 1-story building in this location. Just a second. This is the location, just north of Shenandoah and Indiana. This is there originally was a 2-story building there, historically, but it was demolished at some point. And this is the proposed, site plan. It is in line with one of the adjacent buildings. The building to the south actually sits forward of where most of the buildings on the block sit, so it is more appropriate to be in line with that building to the north. This is the proposed front facade in the model example. While the model example is not exact, it's very similar, just have one less bay. And this is the proposed streetscape showing the neighboring buildings. It is 7 feet away from each building. This is the context adjacent both sides. And the context opposite on Indiana. And while there are no 1-story buildings on the west side of the street, on the east side, there are 2 remaining 1-story buildings, and there were actually 2 more that have been demolished at some point. This is the side elevations. showing very well, but I don't know what happened to those. But we are asking for, as you can see, the returns on both sides are not very, far, so we're, asking for 7 feet on both sides. This is the proposed rail elevations, and the side and rear will have, board siding. The McKinley Heights Neighborhood Association, is in support of the project, with condition of the Cultural Resources Office review proposed compliance with all relevant ordinances, and the building does substantially comply with the historic district ordinance. And we have not heard from the Alderwoman. Based on the preliminary findings, Cultural Resources Office recommends the Preservation Board grant preliminary approval to the design for 2261 Indiana with the condition that the side berth returns be extended to 7 feet, and that the final drawings, exterior materials, colors be reviewed and approved by the Cultural Resources Office.
Thank you, commissioners. Do we have questions for staff?
I just have one question on the front side, maybe I'm not seeing it correctly, does the brick go all the way down to ground? or-
Yes, it
Okay.
does. It does.
Just making sure,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell for sure, and I saw the example, model example.
Yeah, it does. The model example has a little bit of a sill, but it's not.
Yeah.
And there can be some deviations from the model example.
The applicant present?
I don't know. But yes. Yes, he is.
Do we have questions for either staff or for the applicant?
Yeah, so,
Let's introduce the applicant then.
my first question is for staff.
Go ahead.
So you're okay with the brick going to grade, although the model example shows stone? And I.
Yeah, I mean-
Question because in sort of consistent.
Yeah, I mean, I think having a sill there would not be a bad idea. I think that would, I think it would look more cohesive.
Let's get the applicant up and ask.
Okay.
Could you put the applicant on the screen, please?
What was the question, guys? I'm sorry.
No, he was just trying to get, yeah.
Sure. Is the applicant in the room to speak?
Yes, I'm here.
There you are. All right. Yeah, San here to speak on the item.
Yeah, we have some questions. Tony?
Yeah, why didn't you follow, I guess, the model example to the point of having the base as stone or something that replicates stone?
Hassan, that was a question for you, sir.
That's good, present.
He's muted.
I know, Hassan, you're muted.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you hear the question, sir?
No, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yes, the question was, why brick down to grade rather than, stone or something similar to stone foundation, similarly to what's in the model example?
To be quite honest, that was just what was presented, but it can be changed to have a stone foundation if that's what's necessary.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we heard you. Yeah, I think it's a
Oh,
design. Yeah, that's something you work with staff on. If you're willing to do that, work with staff on that as you see to your, drawings. So, great.
Any further questions?
Any other
Commissioners?
questions?
Okay, is anybody in the waiting room?
Anybody else, Jade?
I was trying to.
Rocco, do you want to talk on the item?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
I have one question with regards to the facade. I agree with Anthony Robinson with regards to the brick on the front. The opening for the door, it appears that if that's an inset door, then that makes sense, but if it is a door flush with the facade, then the brick opening would be the exact size of the door. So there wouldn't be this gap, and there wouldn't be this arch, the transom would arch all the way up to the door. The transom would arch all the way up to the brick arch. So I guess, is it a inset or is it a flush?
It's inset.
Got it. Thank you.
Well,
Marco, is there anything else?
Nope. Good to see you guys. Everything else is great. Thank you for doing this project. I own the the building across the street from you and the building to the south of you. So I hope I'll introduce myself when I see you over there. Good luck on your project.
all right, perfect. Thank you.
Rocco, come back for a second. Are you a realtor?
Yes. One of many things. Yeah.
Rocco, I'll be in touch. Just keep that in mind.
Cool.
Thanks.
Talk to you. Bye.
Anybody else in the waiting room?
That's it.
Okay, commissioners, is there a motion?
I move that the Preservation Board grant preliminary approval to the proposed design, with the condition that the amount of brick on the side returns be extended to 7 feet, that the final plans, colors, and materials be approved by CRO.
For a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Bob, would you call a roll, please?
David Richardson,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Catherine Hamaker,
Yes.
Stanley Fowler,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
Yes.
Richard Callen.
Yes. That is 6 yeses. The motion carries. Where did the clock go? Where did the clock go?
Threw it away.
Okay, I want to take a 2-minute break.
Okay, come in break. Before we begin. I'm gonna mute this.
Back in order. Commissioners, we're going to proceed now to hear appeals of director's denial. We'll operate under slightly different rules in that we will ask those who testify, including staff, to affirm or swear that they're going to be telling the truth. And we'd like everybody to identify themselves and to have their cameras on when they testify. calling agenda item D.
I am Jan Cameron with the Cultural Resources Office, and I swear to tell the truth.
Proceed.
I'd like to enter into the record, the agenda, the exhibits, my presentation, and 2 letters which you all have received previously from the Historic Code and Zoning Committee of the Soulard Restoration Group. This proposal is to construct a garage port on this site in the Soulard Historic District. And this site, as you can see, is, the access to it would be, as proposed, from the side street, which is Barton. Narrow down, not sideways, but good. Okay, this is the site plan. Now, the property owner has the townhouse, which is at the very corner. And there is an existing alley. There are some obstructions, which you'll see in a minute. This is the proposed site plan, site plan with the carport, again, coming from the side street. And an aerial view, which doesn't tell you very much, but there you are. So the far right unit is the property owner. This is from 12th Street. And this is the proposed carport, which will have the doors facing Barton, as I said. It will also have a fence, privacy fence that will screen the rest of the property. And there will be half walls or quarter walls constructed to make it appear as if it is a full garage from the street. The problem is that the historic standards do not allow entry from the street, even though there are certainly many examples. Sorry. This is the opposite street, which is the side of Vincent's Market. So that's what the garage would be facing. This is a garage 1 block to the east of the proposed site, historic garage, with also its front entry. And let me go back. So right now, the owners are parking on what is an existing curb cut and apron. And one of the reasons they want to retain the street entry for this building is that this is a substantial structure that would be significant to remove. Okay. So the staff is recommending, because the Soulard standards require entry only from the alley, that the board deny or uphold the director's denial. As I said, the Historic Zoning Committee has given you 2 letters. One first asking that it be denied, but a second that we received the same afternoon that said they would like to have it deferred instead to allow them some time to meet with the applicants and maybe come up with some sort of compromise. So that's that. Are there any questions?
Any questions of Jan?
So what's the substantial structure that prevents coming through the alley?
Is it that?
It's like
little
a
curve?
like maybe a 2 foot, 1
They-
foot wall curve that's there, the alley. Okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't do
it's a very large apron, I think is the idea.
Okay.
And that would be significant to remove, and it would also require replacement of a large portion of the sidewalk.
Gotcha.
And we don't know of any garage that was ever on site, the historic garage.
We don't know that. There is an adjacent garage directly to the north.
Right.
Jan,
And
Commissioner Khalid?
Oh, Jan, would you describe this as a hard denial or a soft denial?
We would like to hear the opinion of the neighborhood. And as I said, they had asked for deferral to allow some time to discuss the project with the homeowner. Now, he does have a presentation. Mr. Curran is on virtual.
Can I motion to defer it before we hear his presentation? Because if we defer it, he's gonna have to do it again.
Yep.
Okay, I move to defer this item to the next agenda and to allow the neighborhood association to have time to review the plans.
second. Can we do that if the is actually looking to testify.
Would you like to hear from the property owner?
So motion on the floor is to defer consideration until next meeting, is that correct?
Correct.
Any discussion? Would you call a roll? Bob?
Sorry. Just go ahead with the rep from neighborhood. Sorry, what can I do for you?
You call a roll, please.
Kevin Hamaker,
Yeah.
Stanley Fowler,
Yes.
Dick Richardson,
Yes.
Ken Robinson,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
Yes.
Richard Callen.
Yes. Thank you. Just.
All right, just so you know, gentlemen, if you were here to speak on the item that has been deferred, please talk to SRG between now and next meeting.
Thank you all very much. Commissioners, I note that Commissioner Hamaker has accused herself in consideration of agenda E.
Yes.
And with that, I'm calling agenda item E.
My name is Chris Nassiger. I affirm that I'll tell the truth. I'm entering the PowerPoint as well as the letter of support from the neighbors as my exhibits. I go ahead and start.
Please.
Okay, so this is an appeal of the director's denial to install vinyl windows in the rear of the house at 1411 Missouri Avenue. The owner applicant or appellant is Catherine Humber. That's why she recused herself from this item. So here is a photograph of the house, just to give you context. Here is an overhead view. The windows will be in the rear, so we'll kind of maybe go a little fast through the street view since it's just sort of the sense of context. Again, here's the exterior, is that building right there in the middle with the stroller on the front steps. This is looking to the north at the west side. 1411 is part of a sort of like call like a row building of maybe about 4 different residences. This is looking to the south, again on the west side. This is looking directly across, or I should say to the south, or I should say to the northwest. Lafayette Square Park is directly across the street. This is looking directly across to the east. And then this is looking to the southeast. So it's a sort of a very interesting situation. There is an alley behind the house. However, it's a private alley, meaning that it's not a municipal alley. There's a few of those in the Lafayette Square, and this is one of them. There's another one behind on the east side of Benton Place. And there's 3 windows that the applicant is looking to replace. This is 2 of them. Actually, these images were provided by the applicant because I can actually get to them because it's on private property to be able to photograph this. So here's 2 of them. They're looking to replace them with vinyl windows, which is what the current material actually is. And here is the 3rd one. Again, this is viewable from that private alley. There's no way to view this from public right of way. And this is the closest you could get from a public alley. You can see there's a large garage that's blocking the view. You can't even actually really see their house from a public alley. This is pretty much all you can see. So the staff recommendation is that it does not comply with Lafayette Square District. So a couple of definitions just to go through. Definition visible. For the purpose of these standards, visibility shall be determined from public areas such as streets and sidewalks. So the proposed windows would not be visible from the street and sidewalk. Alleys actually don't even come into play. So as far as section 203, period 2, windows at secondary and rear facades, where alterations are to be made, the guidelines, section 203, period 2. Vinyl is section 3, vinyl is prohibited as a replacement material unless for repair of existing damage. That does not comply. The windows would be made of vinyl, which is not an approved material under the Historic District standards. So preliminary findings and conclusion, the Cultural Resources Office consideration of Lafayette Square Historic District standards and standard specific criteria. 1411 Missouri Avenue is located at Lafayette Square Local Historic District. The proposed windows are not an approved material under the Historic District standards. The proposed vinyl windows would not be visible from the street or sidewalk. And finally, the Lafayette Square Neighborhood Association has not indicated its opinion on the matter. So based on these preliminary findings, recommends that the preservation uphold the director's denial of the application. Now, we did have that late submission. The neighbors did write a letter of support. I did verify that those are the actual neighbors via city property records. So I did want to mention that. You guys have any questions?
Questions for Chris?
So the existing windows you said are vinyl, so she's just replacing vinyl with vinyl?
Correct. And the applicant does have a PowerPoint that she wishes to present to you all tonight as well.
Any questions?
Is,
What
There-
did you?
there- does this come down to just cost? Is that why we're doing this?
I believe so.
We'll ask the appellant.
Yeah, I shouldn't look at it. I believe she might have mentioned that, but I think the applicant should answer
What
that.
did you introduce for the record?
Issues for the record, the PowerPoint, as well as the letter of support from her neighbors.
Any else, commissioners? Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Application. And it should be the next slide.
Do I need to swear to tell the truth? I swear to tell the truth. Catherine Hamilton.
There you go.
All right. So here is my house. Seen this picture? So we can go to the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this to you all a little bit more. So that little red outline there is my parcel. So we are just a little portion of this 4 unit building, and you can see the vacated alley. Which, you know, alley access used to run all the way through the Park Avenue, but that has not been the case for quite some time. So after this fence, this gate here, this is all privately owned. So those pictures of looking towards that large garage is here. So looking towards my house from that area. This is what our house looked like after the 1896 tornado. You can see that it's part of an intact row. A couple of these houses are gone today, but this is our building here and these others still exist. This is what it looks like during the bike races. So you can see, again, we're part of this dense intact row. Here's the windows in question. That's 2 that immediately face my next door neighbor's vinyl clad house and the one that faces the rear. This is the replacement product we are looking at. Again, the vacated alley, private property there in blue, the alley access, which turns off Albion and then down behind those houses on Park. That private gate restricting access. If you stand right there at the private gate, this is where my windows would be on the other side of that garage there. So the existing code doesn't allow vinyl windows, but I met with the neighborhood and they told me the code is in the process of being updated. And so CRO suggested that I meet with them. The new code contemplates allowing vinyl on the first floor of properties if the buildings are not visible from the street. These windows are not visible from the street, and so I thought it would be worth talking to them. So I went to the Preservation Committee meeting in July. And we talked through the project. We talked about how it was a privately owned vacated alley, that the windows face, 2 of the windows face only the neighbors abutting property, so truly no one except for them can see them. All of the neighbors within view are in support of the project. And if visibility is the primary concern, then these windows are really the prime example of not visible windows. I asked them what they were gonna do, and they said they'd be staying neutral on the project, so they weren't going to be writing a letter in support. They were also not going to be writing a letter in opposition. They didn't want to be seen endorsing vinyl windows, but encouraged me to take this to the Preservation Board because it is a unique case. Any questions?
For the appellant?
So of the 4-pack, you have
Mhm.
2,
I have-
2 or all?
I have all of them.
Okay,
One of them owns 2 of them though.
the net person.
The Neppers own the 2 immediately to the right, but the one immediately to the left, I also have support of.
And then you have the duplex next door to the Steels.
The duplex next door to the Steels, yes.
And then the Lafayette Park Conservancy guy lives on Park.
Park.
He's the one.
He's the one you can see like from the back, from his yard.
Further questions? Unrelated subject, do you recall removing a load-bearing wall
They did alter a load bearing wall with a building permit.
Did you hear any contrary views expressed about removing that load bearing wall?
Not really.
Okay, thank you. Other questions?
I have a question for Mike Colleen.
Uh-oh.
Discussion.
Right there for discussion. Is there anybody in the waiting room? Okay, do we have a motion? Commissioner Richardson?
I move that the preservation board overturn the director's denial and allow the vinyl windows. Based on the revisions being made to the code, the ambiguity and conflicting language of the code. And because they are not visible from any public street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay,
Do I call a roll?
oh, not yet.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna discuss this. Get question.
My question kind of goes away, but Mike, like, what's the other options here? Like wood? Like, sorry, I'm an engineer. Would it be like a wood window that's probably less? I think my question goes away really. It's all of this. It would be wood, it would be wood. Yeah, which is like less, okay, that's all.
Do they allow clad wood in the square over there? I cannot recall. So metal clad wood. I mean, if we're just talking about options, I think that this is, yeah, I'd vote for vinyl, so. But to answer your question, they might allow that.
They do metal clad wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the rear, it's out in the front.
I think if you've seen this, it's like a compound that no one can get to. There's a gate. I mean, it's like, no one can see it at all.
Yeah, so the only reason then in that circumstance to do the metal clad wood is if you want that look on the interior and not to look at vinyl, but. So. Interiors thing.
Okay, we exhausted all our questions. Okay, so call a roll.
Now I can call it. Maybe Mike Clean first.
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson,
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson,
Yes.
Chairman Allen.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the motion carries. The appeal is allowed.
All right, that's.
Next up, we have director's report.
Before we get into the actual item that's on the agenda, I do want to note that today the mayor passed executive order number 90.
Signed an executive order 90.
What did you say?
Signed an executive.
Signed. So essentially what it does is it instructs the building commissioner, CRO, and other departments and agencies to exercise their discretion to expedite permit applications for property damaged by the tornado. So this has been going on for a little bit, trying to figure out ways to help people. It doesn't waive any requirements, but what it does is that it acknowledges certain language, like in Central West End, St. Revolver, that says that we may consider hardship and unusual circumstances. I think that this qualifies as that. So this is the intent of the order, right? It's staff to work with homeowners to get client faster and just, work with them to help them out as soon as possible. So that is, was issued today, signed, and so that is on the book. So any questions?
Is there a definition of affected by the tornado?
It is, it's defined by specific neighborhoods and by ordinance in the historic districts by the individual ordinance numbers. So it is defined in that path by the neighborhoods and the orders of the ordinance themselves.
So this does not affect properties that were not affected by it.
Yeah, when people come in, we always make sure they were affected, they have proof of that. We've been busy as heck lately helping out people, so, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't understand. So the executive order spells out by ordinance and neighborhood name of where it applies, and then you still have to they still have to show you proof that, hey, this damage was as a result of the tornado, not
Correct.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, everything's individual, every house is unique. We've been asking for people to show us, are things like, what is their insurance company saying to them, showing us multiple bids, why they can't comply with certain things. We've been working closely with window companies and roofing companies to actually get legitimate timelines for availability, for instance. Like clay tile roofs right now, I mean, at best case scenario, it's a year out. So we're taking into account all these factors. We're making sure we have proof of these hardships and these circumstances before we do approve anything.
Does this, sorry, does this apply to both like residential and commercial institutional, or is it just residential the hardship or?
Well, it doesn't define that in the standards, it doesn't delineate between difference, it just says, anything that's in the ordinance, it's covered by that, which is, all those different kinds of buildings.
So you could have like the church at Wydown and Skinker got obliterated, come back with, if they had a tile roof. And that was gonna be a long delay, they could come back with asphalt shingles.
They could, but we've been working with them to do things that are more compliant. So what we're doing is trying to make sure that what they're doing at least carries on the spirit of what we would approve. Or like a Brava tile or an artificial tile, don't go just completely to an asphalt shingle. So we're working, staff's working with these individual homeowners and property owners to try and be compliant as much as possible.
And I made up that example.
It's not a historic district. But yeah, but yeah, any questions though, don't forget me a call. Talk.
Does the appeal process stay intact?
It does. I think that what we'll do is when it comes to an issue that staff does not feel comfortable approving something, then we'll bring them to you guys.
Okay.
I think to now is, I think we were all kind of shocked at how long it's been drawn out. It's been really protracted. And it's because of the insurance companies, not to take shots at insurance companies, but that's really what the holdup is. And also getting qualified contractors to do the work. So we thought we'd get this massive crush of non-compliant stuff early on, and really it's not that, it's this negotiation with insurance companies that really drawn this thing out. So you might see something coming up, coming months,
Is there a clock on the executive order?
1 year. This is also encompassing zoning. And zoning's clock is 3 years, our clock is 1 year.
So it's, sorry, one more. So it's part of the problem, it's like, insurance companies like, well, we won't pay for wood windows, we want Homemakers vinyl windows.
Yeah, that's the Humber clause, call it. No, but the thing is, like, a lot of these insurance companies are saying, they only like repair like, what was there before? So they had vinyl in before, it will only for vinyl windows. That seems to be really the big ones, windows and roofing. So yeah.
And I've actually had a project. Got several projects in the tornado zone, but one of them, which is a commercial structure, was built pre-88. And so there are a number of things that don't comply, but building commissioner has allowed that the buildings be put back the way they were versus an insurance company having to pay for that building to now comply with current codes. So.
Bob, at some point when the crush up work is lesser, could we ask you to produce a summary report for us on what decisions you made?
Of course.
Then you should present at a future National Trust for Historic Preservation Conference about how to deal with something like this.
What an excellent idea.
And we did put that out there on many listservs and various sites when this happened. It's just that we are in. Our waters are uncharted versus like other places that have dealt with this, just our building stock is so just different than frame structures in New Orleans and flooding in Asheville. We are a unique situation, for sure.
Okay.
So that being said, it's a good thing, help folks out. But we'll soldier on, any questions, give me a call, we'll talk about it. So then, next up then on to the item.
Olivia, what is this?
This is model rules and procedures for the preservation board. We briefly introduced this item at the last meeting. There is a new city ordinance that is requiring all city boards to adopt a set of rules and procedures that will be published publicly on the website. And that needs to be done by October 31st of this year. So we are bringing this now because Preservation Board also has an interesting work in its code where our rules also have to be approved by the planning commission. So the goal would be to adopt probably if not this meeting, next meeting, so that we can present, board rules to the planning commission in their October meeting to be able to meet the new, ordinance deadline. So city councilor's office has put together, working with staff, some model board rules and procedures, and then adapted them to the particular boards, which is what you have before you. This is open for discussion today. Really, however, all of you think it would be best to facilitate the discussion, I can go through kind of article by article, make some highlighted points, and then if people have questions, comments, things they want revised, if we don't think we need that level of detail, really whatever the board would like to do today.
Let me ask a meta question. Has everybody seen this before? And has anybody sent to Olivia or to Bob any suggested changes or whatever?
Just at the last meeting.
No, but I have some.
So how would you like to proceed?
Well, I would, with your permission, we can have one more, if I could. Can we take it up at the next meeting, and I will send Bob, because I agree with you, like, I read up that, it's like, we don't reference that, our code actually says we're supposed to have rules and bylaws, right? Like, and so I think it should, right, but we reference this other stuff, and, you know, the whole basis of preservation board, I mean, constitutionally is that we have people with various experiences and things like that, and I mean, because we do so much stuff quasi judicially, I just think that maybe ours is more unique than other boards, I guess, and so I just want to make sure we get it right. And I also think there are some model rules and bylaws out there that the National Trust has done, and I just didn't have time to look at all that stuff, but.
Sure, and these do include, I put in there, there is the section on, contested hearing procedures, or appeals. I guess just ask you, do you have anything in particular you want to bring up now for further discussion, so that next time we can have a more complete?
Can I just send you a red line of my thumbs?
Absolutely can.
Can you send it to the whole?
Yeah, sure.
Why don't
I'll
you do
send it
that?
to them, and then, because that would be a meeting.
That might be a
Yes.
problem with that.
So if you have comments or questions, you can certainly reach out to me. I would caution, we can't have a forum of the board discussing the rules outside of a notice meeting.
Well,
That
then
runs
can
into-
you send them out in advance of the next meeting, the revised version, so that we have a chance to have seen his revisions prior to the meeting?
Yes, we can do that, and there can
I
also.
think it's probably 50-50.
And we can certainly also do, if the board wanted, there's also the option of a special meeting if you wanted more time to discuss in person, if we feel that's necessary.
I think I would note that under the rules that I read last month, Catherine would not have been able to present at this meeting.
And I think it poses some, yes, and I think there's problems for like someone like Mike or Anthony that have, you know, might present projects that it's kind of been through it all, right?
So there has to be a way to work around that. I don't see how we could have discussed Catherine's project without Catherine. Or
Make
other
Owen do
projects
it.
without John.
Mike, can you hear okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, can you hear, yeah, because we're discussing things relevant to you.
Oh, yeah,
There is.
you got my attention.
Looking at conflict of interest would be what I believe like the planning commission has done before, if you have a colleague who presents on your behalf. It's something relating to your home, you have another member of your household make the presentation instead of yourself.
And
I
I'm not,
suggest-
No, if I've done the project, then I want to be able to present my project. I don't think that there are necessarily questions that potentially could be answered by someone else. Obviously, if someone in Mike's office, for instance, has been working on the project, yeah, that person could do that, but if you're one person firm, that's not possible. So, no. I don't think that works. I brought up it the last one.
What is that language that conflicts, if may I ask really quick? We could sum it up on the screen.
Article 6. This. One.
I mean, not to keep you longer, of course, Richard.
Oh, wait.
Article 6.
3.
Yeah, it's in my mark. Article 6, number 3, I think, remember? But there were edits here too.
Yeah, asking questions during the meeting, speaking or engaging in debate or discussion in a meeting, lobbying, so like speaking in the meeting, so Catherine is violating.
If it were the rule, which it's not.
You covered that.
Can we think it's something like, very like that person just has to abstain from voting on that issue?
Well,
or has no-
that's what we have been doing
Yeah.
in this past, so.
And so then we
They
just
would want-
modify.
yeah,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
make it Google.
So I mean, that's just, that, then it's our rule, we're acting on our rules that are approved by the planning commission.
Right.
That seems like that way there's no conflict. You can't vote on something that you have an interest in. I mean, it seems
Well,
straightforward.
this said you can't even, like, this said you can't present, that's the problem with this language, it says you can't really. Anything that participates in the meeting, that's the issue with this language, right?
Yeah.
Right, we could definitely do more of a distinction between ability to present as applicant or appellant and ability to speak or present as a member of the board. Like, obviously, if you're recused, you cannot then ask questions or participate in full discussion.
For example, after Kevin's presentation, and we asked her a question, she could no longer say like anything after that, you know, her part's done. That's how it should be. Like, right, yeah. Similar if you were up there, if I were up there, Mike. It's over, done.
Yeah, you give your presentation, that's it. Board votes, you, obviously, you're not voting. And, yeah. Which, after your project, so if you can, you join back.
I'd like to understand more clearly what people can come to appeals and testify as neighborhood associations or resident neighbors, what their standing is. Looking at these rules, I think that those people can be cross-questioned by the appellant.
That is my interpretation under how it is presented in the Missouri statute. Essentially, if the person is offering verbal testimony, sworn testimony for consideration by the board of the way as evidence, that makes them a witness. And then
We've been treating it as public testimony rather than this. Do we need to define that? Yeah, not have public testimony?
Because we have had that question before.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've usually not like
We've usually
cross
said no.
question unless it was so convoluted that that was the only way to deal with it.
Right.
But if we had
Good to
adopted these
clarify,
as a rule. I mean, we also swear the public in. So we're treating them like witnesses.
And I think that is largely there in statute to make sure that the appellant is able, the person who is presenting their case is not part of CRO, has the ability to fully present their case, and if they have questions or to rebut something that is presented by a witness that's now being, or member of the public commenting, that they have the ability to rebut that and the board when they're in.
For witnesses make sense. They, for members of the public. And this is just like that preliminary reviews. Is a quasi-judicial, semi-judicial?
Correct. Well, the few times I can think of it almost happening, it seemed bad. It was like, I'm the applicant, but I'm also a lawyer, sorry, and so I'm gonna like argue with these other people over and over. And so then we needed to put a stop to that, so
Yes.
I think we do need to put something in here that doesn't allow that to happen. The arguing back and forth about facts part. Cause that's what it started to seem like the couple of times I witnessed it.
Like when the lawyer brings up their client, you mean?
No, like someone will give a statement, some other person about the project, and then the lawyer for the applicant or the appellant will turn to them and say, well, did you do this? Well, did you do this?
Gotcha.
And then like they're the ones asking the questions, and I am under the impression that we're the ones asking questions.
Yeah, so I think if you allow for. Say a rebuttal. If you have an attorney, that attorney could then ask the questions. To. The public witness. In that moment, but they don't get to. Continue. I think there's a way to. Set this up so that they respond. That moment, and that's it.
So under the statute for contested hearings, the parties do have to be afforded the opportunity to send witnesses and the ability to cross-examine and to offer rebuttal testimony. So in my opinion, they should be afforded the ability to ask questions if somebody is allowed to testify during the meeting, but I do think we could place other parameters, procedural parameters around that. Time limits or making sure that really clarifying that questions need to be specifically about what was said or it's related to it.
So
This word TV courtroom. I mean, somebody couldn't, in the courtroom, just stand up and start talking, even if they were sworn in.
yeah, so can I just clarify, if we use my example as a hypothetical here, if I had brought a neighbor with me to testify on my behalf, someone that had written that paper saying, I support this, I could question them, like I could say like, oh, Nikki, can you remind them where you live? Like I could prompt them to say things by asking questions, but I could not do that if a member of the public came and spoke on the item.
So
Try to clarify.
two separate things. If you say you are presenting your case,
Yes,
you can present a witness in support of your own person and support your case. If someone else testifies about the project, and you have questions for them, I think under the statute, you should be allowed to also ask that person questions or to have.
anyone
the
that would
opportunity
be
for-
coming for my item, I
Maybe,
could then ask
maybe
questions.
we would be better off letting staff, which is presenting one side of the appeal question, to introduce witnesses and the appellant to introduce witnesses. And those are the only people who speak. And those witnesses could be cross-questioned. But somebody walking up the hallway who decides that they want to testify would not be cross-questioned. Can you do that?
So I'm not sure, but there's really, from what I found, not like specific case law on it, but I think we can go play around with it to set some like procedural limitations, and it would also maybe just have to be a case by case basis. Or if we think somebody is obviously acting out of orders, harassing the witness, we could certainly stop.
We could also alternatively mandate a public comment period.
Because we don't have public comment periods or appeals.
We don't have public comment periods at all.
Oh, yeah. Do we invite any other comments on appeals? We do. Yeah, okay.
Hey, Ron, sorry. Public comment period.
Wait, at the beginning of the meeting?
Yeah, at the beginning of the meeting.
I know, but then, okay, but that's not really evidence for that appeal.
I walked in off the street to talk about something they're going to be hearing later. Here's my opinion.
You put a timeline on it though, I mean, a time limit, like you get 2 minutes.
We could give 2 minutes, or we could say the whole thing has to be done in 10
I don't think that works.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that because then board couldn't really consider it one way or the other, so you would have to consider what was presented within the context
Right.
of the appeal. So
Right.
that's not really allowing somebody to comment on it, if it then can't be considered.
It makes people feel better, but
Well,
it doesn't, but that's it.
And I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah.
David,
I think we just need to think it through. That's why I think we need another month here. Another one, I think there just needs to be, I think the chair needs to have, you gotta put something here where the chair can make up some of the stuff on the fly. I mean, like in the process of when we're having a hearing, that you can come up with, hey, there's 30,000 people, you're gonna have a 3-minute, things like that.
That's in here, that is in here, right?
That the 3-minute is?
Well, there's a time limit that takes place, that's in here.
Yeah, it doesn't
But
allow for a time limit.
giving discretion
But-
to the board,
Correct,
I mean, to
yeah.
the chair,
Chair.
yeah.
I think that's
Everyone
enough.
has that.
It is, we discussed that before, unless we took it out, David Meyer.
And then, did you go back and look at that case where the judge busted us because we didn't do a good job with our finding, like, what's in here is enough to satisfy wherever judge busted us for our findings of fact and conclusions of law.
I will note, Olivia did make changes last month, there was some input given, and she did kind of do some stuff, so.
Are we gonna get to see what the planning commission sets in its rules about us?
Well, you can certainly see the planning commission's rules, yes.
Well, they don't get to say stuff about us, they just get to approve ours, don't they? Or something, it was something
All it
weird.
says is that it's with approval by the planning commission.
It's you.
We're gonna pass our stuff.
You use your stuff first.
Olivia, we're gonna pass ours first, we're gonna pass theirs, it was the same meeting.
The plan, the goal would be that we pass ours, I guess, next meeting. So that they can be presented at the, whatever the following. meeting.
There's the reason I am.
But they will also then do theirs at the same time, or they already in place, they already have something in place.
Interesting.
That I don't
Okay.
know, if they're doing it the meeting before, or if they're planning to take them up at the same time. I would imagine they would want 2 meetings at least, so they could have, discussion and then revision and then bring it, but I don't know.
Do you know, Steve?
I'm assuming we'd have 2 meetings because we'd wanna, so I feel would happen, because we probably get the draft and review it, have discussion and send it back to get some edits. And then that puts it in October.
If I understand the ordinance correctly, if we don't meet these deadlines, we simply revert to Robert's rules of order.
I don't get to.
There's no penalty.
But then we can revert back to this document after October, right? There's no,
I would recommend we make a good effort to meet the.
We'll get there.
Ordinance.
We are trying.
Well, we could hypothetically adopt these at the September meeting, and then, but that doesn't give you 2 meetings.
They could have 2, they can call a special meeting.
Oh, they don't like to do.
They're paid $500 a meeting each. You know that.
Those must have lost the mail.
Yeah.
I'm not envisioning necessarily that. I don't think planning commission is going to have multiple meetings to discuss this. I think they will have multiple meetings to discuss adoption of their bill. So.
Okay, so we think if we could get this to them for the October meeting, they can just pass it.
they'll rubber stamp it, I'm sure. They're gonna.
I
they're-
would
they're
imagine
gonna-
if theirs is based off of the same initial template. There's a lot in here that is not going to be in planning commissions because they don't have all the same requirements and.
I also do not know what bylaws, what the full scope of bylaws can be. But at some point, either in these bylaws or another way, I would like to see the relationship of our legal counsel to us be more clearly defined. Are they our lawyer? Are they not our lawyer? Are they obliged to tell us what's going on in litigation in which we are named defendants or not? Do we have to say whether they settle it? We have a couple of times in the not too distant past been informed what was decided on our behalf. Often not even knowing.
We didn't know we were defendants.
Correct.
I never recall that.
Then Olivia would not be representation, usually it's somebody else who represents you. Counselor's office.
And I don't doubt that they don't tell Olivia either, but. Is that a bylaw thing?
Some of that is going to come down to the city charter. City council's office has the authority under the charter to resolve, lawsuits filed against the city. So I suppose I mean, it wouldn't need to come and consult the board, but I would agree with you that best practice would be at least
Aren't we the purposes of the city that?
you are the city, you are for the city and various departments, and yet some are places that's city council funds.
I know, but as a matter of when we get named individually, someone should come.
That's absolutely, yes.
If right now there's like one active case in that regard.
It is that.
That's the roofing issue at the end.
We should probably save that discussion for.
Yeah.
Okay, commissioners, does this exhaust our preliminary discussion of our bylaws? Olivia has been trying to get us to look at for a bit. I understand that she has a bonus writing a successful resolution of this, that she would like to have in her ratings for joggers.
Just so we're clear, so that people could send Olivia any corrections they would like, just to Olivia, not to corrupt the rest of the group, just send it to her or to me directly, and I'll forward on to Olivia. We can have a discussion. Out of hours.
And finally,
Sir,
who is it that you're looking for? What profession are you looking for?
Yes,
For?
we will most likely have a historian named the board within the next month or two. We do need a realtor to fill Tiffany's spot. So if you know a realtor who lives in the city who is interested, please give me a call.
Commissioners, we're getting other business we'd like to discuss. If not, do we hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Commissioners, thank you. Staff, thank you.